Well. Good evening. It seems to be a simulcast. What I mean by that, of course, is that both channels are enjoying the benefits of a live channel transmission on both channels at the same time. The reason for that is I feel that the last 2 days now I've been doing lives, and I've noticed that there's an amazing number of you out there that are watching them to my amazement. I can't believe that when I've done a live before, I do get a lot of views on them, but not the level that I've achieved in the last 2 days. And I'm just wondering why, whether it's the time, 9 o'clock at night here in the Philippines, and the difference between the number of people that are actually subscribed or watch the channel. So I thought tonight I'll do a simulcast on the same subject, but on this channel and that channel, or that channel and this channel. So tonight actually there's been a lot of talk, or should I say I was prompted to talk about the Commonwealth because of a comment that was being made on a channel that I've been watching and I do follow on a regular basis, and that's called Our Philippine Journey. The host is Mike. He refers to it as Mike and Arlene, but generally speaking it's always Mike that's on the host position. But somebody suggested, I think it was, that the current president of the US is actually suggesting that maybe he might take up the offer from the King of England, the former Prince Charles, when his mother was alive, but he's now king, suggesting maybe that America should become one of the members of the Commonwealth again. I think that's probably a little bit outdated in terms of when it was maybe made. It was probably made many years ago. Oh, well, hello, Robin. How are you this evening? Hi, I farted, sir. Oh, too much KFC. Well, maybe, Robin, that wasn't necessarily the best answer or the opening comment to be aired on public, so to speak, extra crispy. But maybe it's your sense of humour. But nevertheless, and good evening to Albert. How are you? So, my thought does come back to the idea of why not Australia? Why the Philippines? Well, of course, I used to live in Australia, so my goodness, we do get some silly comments now. That will definitely be taken down. In fact, I've got it on both channels, so you're brilliant. Well, actually, I think we might be able to do something about that right now. Remove. And we'll do the same on the other one. Sorry there, folks. Sometimes we get some clowns on here, and unfortunately we got one again tonight. But yes, having lived in Australia for a few decades and plus a bit more, it's easy to say, why do we call Australia home? Australia is a very easy place to live. And as a result, many people make Australia home. Yes, he couldn't spell either, Billy, you're right there. Hello, Ian, how are you? See, you're on there now. Yeah, I'm getting misled on the stupid comment that just came up on there. Why am I circumcised? Pervert's paradise. Well, it seems that 9 o'clock seems to be the bewitching hour, it seems. Got in trouble with YouTube earlier because I referred to the movie as duo. Okay. In Snow White. Okay. Never mind, don't change. Hi, where are you from? I'm originally from England, hence a grumpy Brit in the Philippines, Brit being British. Um, are you New Zealand? Are you question mark, question mark, question mark? Again, whoa, we've got some funny ones here. Ian is tired. Pervert's Paradise. Oh, well, let's just let them carry on. They seem to be doing really well. Anyway, we'll let the idiots carry on. Eventually, of course, we'll delete them and remove them from the channel. Where in England? Berkshire. Anyway, what we were talking about is Australia, but it doesn't seem that we really have anybody interested in hearing about that. So I'll say good night then, and wish you all a wonderful evening, and hope that you get over the shock of being called out as a what you can call it. Hi, Grandpa. Hello, Rochelle. How are you? New Zealand, I love you. Right. New Zealand loves me, all right, you love me. Vlogging in the Trilby. Where in the UK are you from? I just said I was actually from Berkshire, if you didn't hear it. Take care, click Maddock. No, I'm not really going, I just thought I'd try it on. Yeah, I've been living here now in the Philippines for 10 years. Click says USA Detroit here. Hello, USA Detroit. Now, be careful, Click, because you're American. And as you should know by now, everyone thinks I'm against you guys. So just be careful. I'm only joking, of course. Earlier on, I was going to do a live, maybe another half hour earlier, but we seem to have been surrounded by people with mufflers on their motorbikes, or should I say, not. Is that where the famous sauce comes from, Worcestershire? I can't say it as clearly as I should be able to when I get my teeth next week. Where did you get your hair cut? Well, I actually had my hair cut in-house. It's just one of those ones with the different combs on them, and you just go all over it. Normally my hair grows a bit like a sheep, very woolly very quickly. If I leave it for maybe 2 months, I look a little bit like Boris Johnson, the old former Prime Minister in England. Ireland loves you. Well, I love Ireland actually, and the top of the morning to you. Where are we now? We're having a look. Grandpa, can you sing? Yes. What would you like me to sing you? You know, I did it my way. Is that right? Or is that bad luck? Or can't help falling in love with you? Or something like that. You skip Bitcoin question. Well, actually, I do skip it because a lot of people try and slip in the idea that we should be using that and that we should be investing in it. Now, the only people that will be saying that are people that are pushing it. So maybe you are actually trying to push it, which if anybody wants to take it up, I'm sure they can get in touch with you by doing some kind of magic on the computer. What did you first encounter in the Philippines? The heat. I've lived in Darwin, but it's probably a little bit slightly different heat than in Darwin, but not that much difference. Are you married to a Filipina? No, I'm not. Not as yet. I've lived with a Filipina for 10 years, and I'm currently residing in Bulacan with a family that has also a Filipino and also has a grandson living here as well. So now you've asked all the difficult questions. Money is the ruination of the world. It can never bring loved ones back. Interesting point, Gary, there. Vlogging in the Chile. Do you know Sim from Pro-Life Traveller? Probably not. No, it's not a name that jumps across my ideas yet. Are you Filipino? You obviously haven't met any Filipinos, Rochelle, because I don't think I look Filipino, unless maybe you haven't met a Filipino yet. Most Filipinos look probably a little bit more Spanish or Mexican compared to me, and I really don't think I look Mexican. I must admit I was nodding off on my bed earlier, and I found a nice piece of music, and I looked at it, looked at myself on the image without my teeth, and I looked like death warmed up. So I did a video, and I said something like, remembering the happiness, looking forward to the future, or something like that. Somebody thought I was dying. One of my members of my family thought I was dying. So I let them, he said, you don't look well. I said, but actually I'm dying. And it was a bit of tongue-in-cheek. Maybe I shouldn't have been quite so brutal, because he's a younger member of the family. Hi, Grandpa. Are you a USA? Am I in the USA? No, I'm not, Renelle. I'm in the Philippines. And good evening to James and Rochelle, yes, right. Now, yeah, it's funny. Now, come on, guys. You ask the questions and I'll give you the answers as best I can, because when I come up with a thought for the day, it just pops into my brain. And of course, it's 9:10 now in the evening, and there's not a lot of thoughts going in my mind except that I was somewhat shocked by the number of people that watched the video this morning and also last night when I did a video on British expat in the Philippines, that's you, and Grumpy Brit in the Philippines, that's you. So we have two lots going today. But the idea of that is to try and gauge the kind of response, have a look at who's actually leaving me comments. Don't forget, guys, to give us a thumbs up. Thumbs up are actually quite important. I noticed that on British expat, there are only 4 million of you, and there's 16 million on Grumpy. So come on, guys, on British expat, get that button pressed and give us a few more thumbs up. Yeah, you can swallow them afterwards, but once you've done them, it will bring people to the channel, and hopefully it will spread the word a bit more. Michelle says, can you understand Filipino? I mean, you're referring to Tagalog, or you're referring to some of the other dialects that are around? I can speak a number of words. Ask me where they come from, and I'm not quite sure, because now that I'm in Bulacan, which is a different region than La Union, where they're both on the same island, but they're some 6 hours apart. And maybe I might go into, say, a sari-sari store in La Union, where I was before in the Gillian, and I might say, Salamat Adin, which is a polite way of thanking somebody younger than yourself, a woman. And if you use the same comment here in Bulacan, which is near, well, Baliwag is in Bulacan, you say Salamat Adin. They look at you rather strangely and say, Well, Salamat is Tagalog. Adin is Ilocano. But here in Tagalog land, which is the majority spoken here, you would say ate. So you'd say salamat ate, which is just a polite way of thanking people. But if it's a man, it's kuya. So kuya being brother, uncle, mother, brother. And I often wonder how they get on when they're on the cusp of two areas, because they must have to speak a combination of either Ilocano and Tagalog, depending on how close they are to the swap over of the two languages in the area. But yes, after 10 years, you do pick up quite a lot of bits and pieces. And now you're going to try me out there, Rochelle. But I see the smile, so car must mean, what is your age? Right, well, my age is 76 currently, 77 in May. And we're doing very well. We're doing extremely well on the grumpy side. We've got quite a lot of thumbs up, but we're still sitting on 4 on British Expat. So come on, guys, let's try and push that thumbs up. All you do is you press the thumbs up on it. You find the thumbs up, and that's all you have to do. So when you've done that, I will see it live here, and it will give me a cheer this time of the evening. But no, language is important, that you pick up some of the little things. When I first came here, one had to, do you have 2 lives going? I do, New Zealand. That's why you're on both channels right now as we speak. Can I moderate for you? Well, I don't know you well enough yet, New Zealand, but maybe one day you could. Maybe what you'd have to do is drop me an email and we'll have a chat beforehand, so we see the eye to eye, because I understand being a moderator is quite an important thing to do. But there again, well, you see, you just sold yourself out. You're asking to be a moderator, and then you say, so will Viagra. Yes, I can make you be loving. That's a delicate question. Now you see, Rochelle has taken that down now. And you see, you tempted her with that question by adding, so will Viagra. So as you can see, New Zealand, it's not always the best thing to have somebody a moderator if they are tempted to make that kind of comment, if you get my meaning. This is a family-oriented show, even if it is restricted to adults only. We still like to try and keep it relatively clean, I should say. But where I am, I'm about an hour away from Walking Street in Angeles City. We have to drive through a lot of countryside to get there, but we're about an hour away by motorway and or toll road, as they call them here, tollways, and about the same distance really from the outskirts of Manila. But we are actually in a province here, so this particular part where I'm staying is completely surrounded by, at this point of the year, plenty of water. There's lots of rice being grown around here. As far as the eye can see, is almost as far as the volcano in the distance that I can also see here. Do you have a family? Well, I hope I have a family. Yes, I do have a family. But if you're talking about a family here or a family overseas, I have family overseas in 3 nations. One is New Zealand. I have a son and a daughter there. I have 2 sons in Australia and 1 son in England. They all like travelling, as you can see, and they must have taken that after their father. And maybe they've continued with their mothers enjoying living in those places. So yes, and here in the Philippines, I have been with 10 years living here. And yes, I have 2 stepdaughters and a great, and one of them has just a new arrival, a 3-month-old little daughter too. So yeah, plenty of family around. And Paul says, what happened to your teeth, Cockney boy? I live with you guys. I love you guys in East End. Right. Well, if I was to talk like my brother talks like this, you know. Mind you, my brother's dead at the moment, so he's not talking very much. He died about 10 years ago, and sadly we lost him. And he was my younger brother. I have an older brother, and he talks like, you know, the North like, from Newcastle. He talks like that, like, and sometimes when I talk to other members of the family up there in Newcastle, I almost need to ask them to send me subtitles of what they're talking about because it's not an accent I'm familiar with. But my brother John, who passed away some 10 years ago, sadly, he had a very London accent, very sort of, "How you going, mate? All right?" You know, everything was very much like that. So no Cockney in me though, and I don't think he was really a true Cockney. I just think he picked up working on building sites and doing work as a cabinet maker. He mixed and spent a lot of time around people with that kind of accent. It's, I suppose, very easy to pick up. Reynold Thomas. Hi, Grandpa. Are you in the USA? No, I'm not. I'm in the Philippines. Paul Mitchell. What happened to your barnets? Barnets? Barnets. Maybe a misspell there, Paul. I'm not sure. Or is it supposed to be Rochelle? What is my personal email? Now, what is it? Have to remember this one. Norman dot Childs, like in children, at hotmail.com. Norman dot Childs at hotmail.com. There you are. And if you don't find it, you'll probably find it in the information on British expat in the Philippines, and I believe it's also in the information about the channel on Grumpy as well. Rochelle? Oh, Paul, stop saying badly to Grandpa. Yes, there we are, Paul. You're okay, bro. Oh, somebody's let somebody out of the box round here tonight, that's for sure. So, obviously here it is, what is it? Monday now. So this is maybe the spill-off of Monday Blues from the US of A, or where are our little clowns coming from? I don't really know. Got to have a sense of humour. Well, yes, we do. But if it's an American sense of humour, it's going to be different from English or Australian, because English and Australian and New Zealand tend to share the English humour. And the Americans, it's a slightly more, how can I without offending you guys, it's a little bit more childish in the sense it's not sophisticated humour, and that's not putting you down. It's just a different kind of thing. I mean, I loved Mary Tyler Moore or the Dick Van Dyke Show. Oh, that's showing my age. But as far as Seinfeld went, couldn't get my head round it. But then I also couldn't get my head round Ricky Gervais or whatever his name is, the English guy, The Office. But then, of course, he took the idea of The Office over to America, very clever businessman, and they loved it over there. But of course, he changed it all around to American humour, and he did very well, thank you very much. And you don't hear too much about him in the UK like you used to when he first started off. And it was rather obscure humour in England, but he managed to land a golden goose in America because he changed the way the humour was put together. Classic humour I put down to people like the Two Ronnies, Benny Hill, not so much Benny Hill, but Eric Sykes, Hattie Jakes, going way back, Sid James, the likes of Mr. Trotter in, what was that called? Fools and Horses, I think it's called. There's some pretty good classic ones. And then, of course, the north of England, a lot of very funny humour came from that area because they had working men's clubs where everybody used to go and have an evening drink and listen to the floor show, where many a young comedian would have started their career. And they became household names, so many of them. In fact, Ian Living in the Philippines, if you want to take a note of that one, that's another channel here in the Philippines. He's only, 25, 30 minutes away from me on a motorbike. And Ian has joined us, I believe, on this channel here on Grumpy. And he has a channel called Ian Living in the Philippines. So I invite you to go over and have a watch, have a listen. We might sound similar, but our content is different. So nevertheless, I think he's got more varied. There you are. Ian there, Ian Living in the Philippines. If you copy that one there, you'll be able to see what his channel is all about. I think he's doing the King Dick Award at the moment, and that's not being rude. That's the name of a mechanical tool, a spanner called King Dick. Like in Australia, it's called Sidchrome. I believe that's an American brand anyway. But King Dick is a well-known brand in Europe, and he gives it out to people who are his trolls. And he does a very good little presentation of it. And I invite you to go and watch his channel. And where are we going? Liverpool, you write about American humour, sense of humour, and they don't have the sense of humour that we do. I'm a Scouser. I like you, man. It's a pleasure to meet you. God bless. God bless you, man. I bet that's Paul Mitchell. Hello, Paul. I'm from Liverpool. Right. Well, yes, Paul, you would know that in Liverpool. Liverpool is known for, obviously, the Beatles, Jerry and the Pacemakers, so many 60s icons who then became world famous with their music. Obviously, the Beatles, the Cavern, where they first started presenting themselves to the wide world. And there's only two left now. There's Ringo Starr, and we'll give him his right title, Sir Paul McCartney. So the only two remaining ones are Paul and Ringo. And sadly, George and George and John. Why did I forget that name, John? John Lennon had his life taken shortly, made short by a gunman in New York, and George unfortunately died after a long illness. He used to live not that far away from where I lived, and that was just outside of Henley in Oxfordshire, and had a very nice home there. Used to travel past there on a regular basis. But yeah, George Harrison, John Lennon no longer. The only two remaining, of course, are Ringo and Sir Paul. But again, as Paul said, that is, Paul Mitchell said, well, I shouldn't actually forget this. The lady that I followed out, the girl I followed out when I was only 18 to New Zealand when I first came out here, this side of the world, she's related to John, now the name escapes me. He's a comedian, and he's related to that young lady. And, goodness, he's doing the rounds around England at the moment. John. We'll remember it, hopefully, before the end of the transmission this evening. But John Bishop, that's the one I'm trying to think of, John Bishop. He's related to a lady that I followed out to New Zealand. It's her cousin. And I have photographs of John with them now, just more recently. Interesting that it's funny how you get, I hate people who name drop, and yet here I am doing it myself. But we're talking about comedians, so I think I've got license to do that. But there are a lot of very talented, humorous people that come out of Liverpool and certainly up north, like Hull and of course Scott. What was I watching this evening? I was watching Michael Caine and Billy Connolly being interviewed by Parkinson, and that was a blast for the past. Again, very famous people out of England. I must admit that not a lot run across my mind as far as Americans that are that way, unless you're talking about entertainment in the field of movies and song. And it's always amazed me how the world is often criticizing the color of people's skin. And I can remember how I enjoyed listening to, dare I say, Ella Fitzgerald, Louis Armstrong, Satchmo, oh my goodness, there's so many well-known American actors and singers like Bing Crosby. I used to actually I rather liked Bob Hope's sense of humour. I think because he was from the older group of people and he used to entertain the GIs overseas in the wartime, in those times where people just needed something just to try and break that terrible feeling of doom and gloom that must have been for all those very brave soldiers out there taking on the world at the bequest of the politicians who sat very comfortably in their nice homes, sending these guys off to their possible demise. But we won't go there, will we? So, yeah, I mean, it's difficult to come up with something to talk about. Sometimes you just get a blank. And I suppose half an hour worth of blank is probably as far as I can go tonight. I've sort of run out of steam. I do appreciate everybody coming on this evening, but I probably need, I wouldn't like to think that I have a script, but I probably need maybe a prompt sheet to just give me more direction, because some of you can help by suggesting things that I can then comment on. But when you're a little bit blank at night, maybe it's being tired, or maybe it's just haven't got all these things running around. Somebody said, where was I? I was listening to a piece, I think it was something that Ian sent me. It was about a concept that things in your mind are not really in your mind. They're built up from observations, smell, touch, noticing in your subconscious mind. When we walk around every day and we observe life as it is, no matter whether we're feeling happy or miserable or in between, our brain is like a computer that is on 24/7, and it's accumulating all of this information. It's not necessarily going to use it, but it's building up a memory bank. Therefore, when we think that there's this little voice in our head telling us what we should be thinking about, the experts suggest that that's not the case. It's not our self-thinking. It's actually the accumulation of all of the things that you've been exposed to. That, of course, that opens up the reality that if you've been exposed to terrible things in your life, and your only observation is all that horror and terrible events, what would your daily life be filled with from that little voice in your head? Would you just constantly be going around in a nervous wreck kind of situation? Would you be forever negative? If you were brought up in a very positive, powerful, and maybe, I won't just say happy, but a very complete lifestyle, does that mean therefore you would have a positive thought for the day, every day? Would you never see anything negative? Food for thought, isn't it? Just one of those things where you're never quite sure if that's the way they think our minds work. And I think it's probably more a philosophical idea rather than based on science. Because if that were the case, every time we change our mind to do something, is there somebody in our head that somewhere along the line has forced your brain to think all of the options beforehand? Therefore, they're not really us thinking, it's accumulation of the pressures around us. Maybe it's a bit too late in the evening to be talking like this, but maybe I have to do a little bit more research and come up with my perspective of what they maybe is the answer, or what I think to be the answer. But anyway, guys, it's time for shut-eye, time for some of you to get on to go to work and have a good day, and for a lot of you others, either to put your feet up and get ready for the evening last drink and move on in your life, ready for Tuesday. Because I can guarantee for most of us, Tuesday will be tomorrow. I hope I get there. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for coming along, and I look forward to having you join me again on British Expat in the Philippines. And Grumpy Brit in the Philippines. Bye now. As he said, goodbye. Goodbye.